what is motivation, by the way? So what do you think is the motivation?
Encouragement, sir. Encouragement.
Yeah, okay. So is encouragement. Okay, let me also say, right, so it's what is that, teaching and learning process. Let me also give some standard. So in case like now when we slowly, I don't want to say right now, but only for facilitating the learning process, I can be talking one way all the time, right? So I would require some responses also, right? So people who interact more, right? In case when we think of the assignments in the later parts, right? So the behavior aspects would play a role, right? So the interactions and sharing new ideas, experiences, bringing in some new data, all that probably we can consider later as part of the assignments. I'm just saying it in advance, right? So that you can use that for your advantage. Okay, so yes, one is the encouragement. So what are the other aspects of motivation?
To improve the efficiency and effectiveness of the employees, sir.
Okay,
The
improve the efficiency.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
This is Sukanya.
Yes,
So
Sugandha.
I would like to state motivation is very important organization process as because if the employee motivates the employees, they used to do their job more efficiently, I would say. Because motivation plays a major role in employer and employees relationship.
Okay.
So they should not be dominating always. At the same time, they should keep on motivating.
Right. Yes. So it's like, no, that's a nice word, right? Keep on motivating. Right. It's not that I'm motivated today. It's not that I'm motivated for a week. It's also about continuous process. Right. We need to get continuously motivated. Right. So that's where like three aspects become on the meaning of the motivation. Right. One is about the individual's intensity. Right. So how intensely you want something, you want to achieve a goal. It's about the intensity. And second one is the persistence of efforts, right? It's not that I put efforts in the, what is it, a 1 week time or a 2 months time. It's not that. It's about persistence of efforts. And then third aspect is a direction. In which direction you are putting your efforts. Okay. So these three aspects become very important in motivation. Right. The first one is the intensity. How deeply, strongly, intensely you decide something. Okay. So if there is no intensity, then the motivation will not be there for longer duration, or it would be a shallow motivation, right? So that's what the intensity plays a major role. And persistence of efforts, right? So look at all the great people, right? It's not that they have like now put in 1 week of effort and then all of a sudden they have become a great people, a great HR or a business head. It's not that. It's about the persistence of efforts. Take for example, starting from your school education onwards in academic sense, right? So academically, how much effort you are putting in, right? Then slowly you continue with your persistence of efforts towards your goal, right? So you pick up the right courses, and if you are looking at the direction also, right? It's not only the intensity of desire or the efforts. Are you going in the right direction? That's more important, right? You had a desire and you are putting efforts. Take for example the direction. Until UG you had a different ideas, directions. In PG you have chosen MSW course. Now after completion of your course, what is going to be your direction? Which direction are you going to be, right? Are they all three in the same line, moving in the same direction? So that's where the person can be highly motivated. If any one aspect is lacking, then the person could be demotivated or have lesser motivation, right? So if it is in a, what is at a class, how many of you, I think I asked this question earlier also, right? So how many of you would like to be CHRO, right? We
Yes,
ask
sir.
that question.
Yes,
So
yes,
if
sir.
you want to become a CHRO and manage a large organization, then these three aspects are required. The intensity of your desire. Do you truly desire to become a CHRO? Or are you putting persistence of efforts, continuous efforts, and then are you moving in the right direction? Okay, so all these three become important aspects of motivation, right? So we have theories on motivation, right? So we have three. Okay, so what are the theories of motivation? So if you have gone through the syllabus, we have content theory, process theory, and contemporary theories of motivation. Okay, so content theory describes what motivates a person. Okay, the process theory explains what is the process involved in motivating a person, and then we'll be looking at the other contemporary theories of motivation, right? So these are the theories. And first, looking at the contemporary, sorry, what is that? Content theory, Maslow hierarchy of needs. So that's the first one. Okay, so Maslow has what is that? Put the needs in a hierarchy. Okay, so if you look at the slide, there are 5 needs put in a hierarchy. The first one is the physiological, the very basic or fundamental need, right? So it's all physiological. It's the food, water, or a shelter, warmth, sex, sleep, okay, homeostasis,
So voice
and
is breaking, sir.
exertion, right? So these are all the basic needs and individual needs. The second aspect, after you get your food, after you get your, what is it, the biological needs, what is you, what is it, look for next? It is the safety needs. What are they? It's a security of your health, income, your job, okay? So the law, limits, and stability, right? So that's what we need. I think earlier, like, no, there was a, so when that, what is that? One of the assignment, right? So where you had objective questions, basic, right? Physiological or safety, discussing about it, right? So all that are connected now, right? So now what is that? It's about saving. So protect your life. That becomes, and then the security, how safe you are in terms of income, all that becomes your security aspect. What is one belonging? Okay. The affection channels. In one of the channels, there was a question that you most want in your life, is that a love or money? Responses. What is the most important? Can I have a response from a?
Love.
Yeah, what is most important? Money or
Love, sir.
love? Somebody said love.
Love, sir.
Love, sir.
Love.
Love, sir.
Love.
Affection, love.
Love, right. So therefore, the money also
Yes, we.
plays a role, right? So that's where, like, now the safety plays a major role. Beyond, after you have achieved, if you ask a person who is like really in need of safety, you would say money is more important. Not everybody, but certain people, right? Because with the money, you can save the loved ones, right? So that's where, like, now the priorities can change, but the order yes put is, this is the third one is a love and belonging, and the fourth one is a esteem, right? Your status in the society. Okay, so it's like after you have money and people around you, what is that you want? So what do you want to, what is that, what do you want to people pick up, like now higher positions or higher jobs? It's a status. The jobs, right? HR, it's a status. You can say I'm an HR guy working in a Infosys or a Cognizant or a Google, right? So when you say that, you feel good. It's about the self-esteem. Okay, so that becomes a fourth level of need. And the final, the higher order, right? It is the self-actualization. Okay, meaning you are realizing your full potential. Okay, quite often there is a question, right? So how much of the potentials we are using it for a day or in our life, right? So that's a question mark. And people like not really want to do something. They ask basic questions. Who am I? Why am I here? Okay, what am I doing? I'm not doing anything. I need to achieve something. Okay, what is the purpose of my life, right? So asking the questions, I must do something, contribute, innovate, find out, make a new product, do a business, right? So many things like not realizing your true or real final goals or dreams. That becomes a self-actualization, right? So again, this is the order yes put in. So how many of you agree with this order? Okay, this is a clear order and it's like not clearly stating our needs. How many of you say that? So could this order be reversed or this is the perfect order? Can students say?
It depends upon an individual's perspective of life, sir.
Yes, exactly. It's again, it's like the individual person's and the individual person's context. Okay, the context of the person also matters, right? So again, the sometimes it doesn't mean that I'm focusing only on the self-actualization. I can be simultaneously operating or working on the all 5 needs. But then I might give more importance to certain needs and lesser importance to the other needs. Right? So that's about the Maslow hierarchy of needs. So these needs motivate people in the organizations, right? So the safety becomes a major role, right? So that's a physiological need. You may be working in a bigger company, Hyundai, Ford, Nissan, all that. So the moment you go to a factory and if there are risks to your life, what will happen? You will not be motivated. You will not be walking on the shop floor because there is a threat to your life, right? So that's what safety is given the topmost priority in the organizations. And all your compensation and benefits, they're all designed to motivate people. And all your employee engagement activities and connecting families, all that, it's a love and belonging, giving you the designations and promotions, recognitions, all your self-esteem needs, and then asking you, what is that you want to do in the organization? What is that you want to achieve in the organization? That's all connected to self-actualization, right? So that's where an HR person should understand what is the need of an employee, how the HR program is going to motivate an employee in the organization. So that's
Hello.
where it becomes an important for HR person to understand the motivation aspects and the factors that motivate employees. So that's about the Maslow hierarchy of needs. So you have any doubts on that?
Sir, your voice is breaking, sir.
My voice is breaking.
Sir, your
So is it
voice
clear
is
now?
breaking, sir.
Is it clear
Yes,
now?
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's clear.
Okay, fine, fine.
Sir,
Okay.
one question.
Yeah.
Let's say this is the hierarchy of needs, Maslow's theory. Let's say some people are happy at one stage. They don't aspire to move on to the next step on the pyramid. Is that possible? Or the study says that a person is always looking forward to the next move to the
Not
next
necessarily, not
part of the
necessarily.
pyramid.
It's like it is what is motivating the individual, right? So that's what we have seen, right? The intensity, the persistence and direction. If I have a lower intensity for the self-actualization, I have nothing to achieve in life, something,
Right.
then I may not be focusing on the higher needs,
Right. Right.
right? And to the question like now
Right, sir.
money or love, one person said like, no, it's a food that I want.
Mm.
Person like now it's only food, not beyond
Right.
that, just see. But that's it's about the individual's motivation levels, right? So yes, people can
Okay.
operate at different levels. Somebody may not have anything to eat, but he can be highly dreaming of things, right? So that's still possible. Okay, so moving on to the next ERG theory. It's again based on the Maslow's 5 needs, right? So he has made it into a 3 needs. Okay, ALDERFER ERG theory. Okay, so they are grouped into 3 aspects. It's the first one is the existing needs. Second one is a relatedness needs or relationship based. Third one is a growth needs, self-esteem and self-actualization. Okay, so he says, okay, all what is that? Factors can be operative at one time. Okay, there is no absolute hierarchy of needs. Okay, so all the needs can be working at the same time, right? Right now, right? Take for example, for all of us, all the five are important. Okay, the first level, the physiological needs and the security needs and the belongingness and the esteem and like now wanting to do something, okay, all become important for us. That's what he says. Okay, take for example, we are doing something related to self-actualization. You are starting a business. Okay, so initially you are facing a lot of failures. You are not getting the right financing, you're not getting the right human resources or other resources. What do? You don't still continue at the same level of self-actualization efforts. What do? You move on to the lower needs, right? So then the family would be saying, you have been spending more money, putting a lot of efforts, but nothing is coming. What do? Then you move on to the lower level of needs. And after achieving the lower level of needs, then you move on to the higher level of needs. So that's what he says. Okay. So if you look at, it's about the existence, food, water, clothing, and shelter, and relatedness. It's about relations and what is that? Good relations, growth, self-development. Okay. So these are the needs. He has grouped them into three. Okay, so that's the ERG theory. Is that clear? ERG theory?
Yes, so
Okay.
So this also comes under the content.
Content theory, content. These are all describing, okay, on what is motivating the employees. And you have a Herzberg's theory. Okay, so he talks about two factors that are going to motivate employees in the organization, right? So he calls the first factor as a hygiene factor and the other one is a motivator factors. Okay, so at workplace, uh, so employees, what is that, can get the satisfaction or they may have a dissatisfaction, right? So now what is going to, what is that, give a satisfaction to the employees? Okay, so if you look at the motivating factors, so that is going to lead to the satisfaction. So what employees really want in the organization, let's say something they want to achieve, right? So they want a real recognition when they do something good, and they want good responsibilities, okay, good roles. And then the nature of work itself, right? The work itself is going to motivate employees in the organization. And then the advancement, are you making progress? Can you move on to the next levels? Okay. And then the personal growth after putting so many years of effort, 5 years, 10 years, 25 years, have you grown personally? Okay, so if there is no opportunity for personal growth, then you're not going to get motivated. So he calls these aspects as the motivator factors or motivational aspects. There are the hygiene factors. Hygiene factors are the working conditions, co-worker relations, and the policies and rules of the organizations, supervisor quality, and your wage and compensations. These are all the hygiene factors, right? So if they are good, it doesn't mean that the employees will get motivated. Okay, it doesn't mean that employees will get satisfied. But what will happen is employee will not feel dissatisfied. It only removes the dissatisfaction, does not provide satisfaction, and does not motivate much, right? So the real motivating factors are the recognition, achievement, responsibility. Okay, so that's where you call those as a motivational factors, and working conditions, policies, all that as the hygiene factors. Hygiene factors need to be really good. So that's where employee will not feel dissatisfied. But if you want people, employees to be really satisfied, then you need to provide the motivational factors. So these are the two factors he talks about in the organization. So providing air-conditioned room, transport, and safe working conditions, all these are all the hygiene factors. They're really important. Okay, so these are the two factors in the hygiene factor. Sorry, what is that? Two-factor theory. So is that clear? Anyone has any doubts in this?
No, sir.
Factor theory. Is that clear?
Hygiene motivated.
Okay. So the okay. So the next process, what is it? A process series of motivation. Okay, in the process theory of motivation, you have the expectancy theory, right? So that is by the Victor Barum, right? So he explains the process involved in motivating the employees. Okay, so basically you have the expectation, the belief that if I put the right efforts, okay, so my performance will be good. If my performance is good, I'll be getting a good reward. Okay, so that is the process. The process is your efforts that leads to your performance. The performance leads to rewards. Okay, so if this process is clear, if your expectation is clear and the line is also clear, then probably you are going to get motivated, right? Look at here, right? So you put efforts, okay, thinking. Okay, so you're asking a question. Can I achieve the desired level of task performance? Okay, so you have a question. And if my performance is good, will I get the expected reward? Okay, and that reward is how much of importance to me. Okay, so that's the process, right? So imagine like now you put in efforts and performance do not go up, then you will get demotivated. Your effort is good, performance is good, and the reward that's not really good, then you are going to get demotivated. Okay, so that's the process, expectancy theory of motivation. Take for example, you have your expectation, right? So if I attend the classes regularly, okay, so then I'll be able to write my exams well. So with the exams, I'll be getting a good job in an organization. That's the expectation, right? So you're putting the right efforts. And in the evaluation, suppose if your marks go down, what happens? You get demotivated, right? So that's what is a reward. So when it is not good, and again, you prepare well, like now prepare for what is it, interviews, and you do the interviews well, and finally you get selected, and they give you a lower compensation, right? So again, so that's not going to be, you will not be motivated, right? So that's the expectancy theory. Motivation equal to expectancy, instrumentality, and valence. Okay, so that becomes the motivation. If any one of the factor is low, then the motivation would be low. So the next theory is like now extension from the expectancy theory, like now Porter-Lawler theory is like now again based on the expectancy theory. Okay, so here he says, hello. Yeah, I'm hearing somebody's voice there. Okay, so here it talks about the rewards, right? So the rewards will have to be equitable, all right? It has to be fair rewards. Okay, so you have rewards in two types, right? Intrinsic rewards and extrinsic rewards, right? So you have two types of rewards. So that has to be really fair. So if it is unfair, you will not be motivated. So looking at the expectancy theory, your effort is there, performance is there, and that leads to satisfaction, right? Your effort will be decided by your abilities and traits and how you perceive the role. Okay, so that is going to decide the level of your efforts, and that will decide your level of performance. So that will move on to your rewards. So what kind of rewards you get? Are you getting recognized? Okay, so are you appreciated at workplace for your contribution? Are the extrinsic rewards, the external rewards? Are you, what is that, getting the increment? Are you getting the, what is that, extra bonus for your performance? Okay, so are you getting the other benefits for your performance? So that will lead to your satisfaction and how you are perceiving the rewards. If you value the reward, so that is going to increase your efforts. If you are not so valuing the reward, that will lead you to putting lesser efforts. Okay, so that's about the Porter-Lawler model. Okay. Yeah, so it's about the what is that, intrinsic and extrinsic rewards that's going to influence. So under the contemporary theory of motivation, right? So it is given by Stacey Adams. Okay, so we talked about the rewards. Now, this author says, right? So people perceive their own rewards and efforts and compare it with the other people, right? So I'm putting so much of efforts and I'm getting so much of rewards. So what I am doing, I am comparing my efforts and rewards with the other person, how much the other person is getting, how much effort the other person put in, and what is the reward the person is getting. Okay, so there is a comparison. If the person perceives, okay, there is a equity, there is a fairness, okay, and the rewards given to both the people, then person will feel motivated. If there is unfairness, okay, so the somebody is putting lesser effort and getting more rewards, and somebody is putting more efforts and getting lesser rewards, then the person will get demotivated. Okay, so that's about the comparison. Okay, so you are comparing your rewards with the other person. So it happens, right? So in the college, so after the ICA, when we evaluate your marks and give it to you all, what do? So you get your paper. At the same time, you want to know how much the other person got. Okay, so you know better how the other students are studying and efforts each other is putting. So when somebody is getting higher mark with a lesser effort, then immediately feel, okay, there is unfairness. I put in more efforts, but I've got lesser reward. Other person has put in a lesser efforts and getting more rewards. It's the same in the organization. That's why companies do keep the compensation more confidential. They do not easily share it to the other co-workers. What is the individual's compensation, right? So the moment they get to know what the other person is getting paid, there will be a comparison. And then people will feel demotivated. Okay, so that's the equity theory of motivation. So these are all the motivational theories. So if you now finally compare all the theories, so you can look at it, right? So it's about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the 5 levels. ALDERFER, from there, he has brought it to 3 levels: growth, relatedness, and existence. And Herzberg, he has put it in 2 factors. What is that? Satisfier or motivated factors and the hygiene factors. And McClellan, right? It's not in the syllabus, but he talks about 3 motivators. It's achievement, so achievement motivated, and power motivated, and affiliation relationship factors that motivate people. Okay, so these are all the motivational theories. So is that clear? You have any doubts on that?
No, sir.
No, sir.
So you want to add
Yes,
something
yes,
to
sir.
the motivational theories? What is that we are discussing? It's very important, right? So finally, end of the day, there is going to be difference between the employees and the motivating factors, right? Somebody is highly getting motivated, somebody is not getting motivated. Now, what is motivating the other person? So that's what you need to know. So you want to add something? So why do students go abroad for higher studies?
For higher,
For better quality
Which one?
of education.
Their expectations, sir.
Better pay.
Okay, better pay.
They get the job there.
They are better appreciated for their talent there,
Okay, can you
and
anyone
more
connect with
exposure
the
also.
theories and say? Can anyone connect it with any of the motivational theories and say?
More recognition, sir.
Okay, so meaning there is more recognition, right? You're right. So take for example, often there was like a debate in India. So government spend a huge amount of money on IITs, IIMs, but then all the students go abroad. They go to European countries or American work there.
Then there
And
is
they
very
call the
low
brain
return on
drain.
investment for the government.
Yes, government is investing huge amount of money, but all of them go out
Yeah,
of the
there is
country.
very less return on investment.
Yes, so that's where government should invest more on MSSW.
Yes, sure.
Right. So we are working for India, building India. Right. So you all should be
going
being,
nook and
what is
corner.
it? You get a better standards or better infrastructure, better facilities.
Yes, sir.
Right. So you
Better
deserve more.
hostels.
Because you all will be like, no, not that you will not be going abroad. Someone like, no, you also can be going abroad. It doesn't mean that it's not good. People can be working anywhere, right? So the point is, right, like other contributions. Even from there, you can make a contribution. From here also, we can make contributions. Overall, finally, we'll have to see applying the equity theory. Is there a fairness? Okay. So now it is not fair, right? So you are paying more fees, and for them there is a lot of subsidy, better infrastructure, all that. But then they are going outside and making their own what is their life. That's not much of contribution here. Okay, so the equity part of it, and sometimes you also do really good work. You really work hard, you are innovative, all that. But then because someone is from IIM or IIT, they are given a higher compensation. Okay, so you are comparing your efforts and your outcome, and then you are comparing with his or her efforts and the rewards. Okay, so that's how these are all the motivational factors. So maybe we need to apply to individuals. Okay, you need to see it for yourself. What is your intensity, persistence of effort, direction, and the factors that is going to motivate you. Okay, so it's for you to look at it individually and then apply to the employees in the organization. Okay, so we'll move on to the other topic, the leadership. Okay, so I think right now I am dealing with the 25 leaders, the great leaders, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I got only 5 or 6 leaders voice. Remaining? Okay.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Everyone on mute.
They are silent leaders, sir.
Yes, right. So leadership, right? So yes, we'll move on to right. So what is basically leadership? It is about the ability to influence a group towards achievement of goals, right? So any leader is going to influence people, influence your employees towards achieving the goal. That's most important. It has to be a positive influence. It has to be for the development, achievement, and all that. What is a management? It's using your authority, the formal authority. Okay, so for achieving your goals, that's a difference between a manager and a leader. That we'll be discussing a little later. Okay, so that's a basic one, right? So leadership is for influencing. So now you yourself can see it. how much you are able to influence what is it, your own people, or what is it, when you take up an assignment or task. So how much you are able to influence your people in getting the task completed. Okay, and the organization, your leadership role is a major role. Okay, you need to move the whole organization towards achieving the goal. So that's where organizations pay huge packages to the leaders, right? So wherever they find a good leader leading organization towards success, they go on and hire a person, pay a huge amount of money. That's why CEOs are highly paid. Okay, CEOs are the individuals leading, influencing the whole organization towards achievement of goals. That's why there is a higher compensation packages for them. Okay, so here we talk about three theories of leadership. The first one is a trait theory. So all of you would have known what is trait theory. Can anyone say what is a trait theory of leadership? The basic or fundamental statement here.
So by birth, they have that uh, character to manage and influence the people.
Exactly, right. So meaning you're a born leader. So this one believes, this theory believes that people come with a leadership traits. They're all born leaders. Okay, so there are physical characters, and then the social characters, intellectual, all that becomes part of the trait. Okay, your level of energy, the level of ambition, you can see among yourself, right? So some are highly ambitious. You talk to them, they'll be talking bigger things. So meaning they're highly ambitious, and you'll find some students with a high amount of energy. Leadership basically requires a higher amount of energy, right? So when you want to lead people, you need to have a lot of energy. The way you talk, you communicate, and walk, you are going to inspire and influence people. Okay, and the desire to lead, honesty, integrity, self-confidence, intelligence. So leaders must have the intelligence, right? So if you're not going to read anything, get updated anything, you can't be expecting to be a leader. Okay, so you need to have a lot of self-awareness, the high self-monitoring, right? And then the knowledge about the job. Okay, so these are some of the traits. So theory says that leaders are all born. Okay, so that's where you will find some people like no. So when they're small itself, they'd be like no influencing people. So that's this theory talks about. And the limitations, there are no universal traits found that predict leadership in all situations. So you can't list down, okay, this person has high energy and he has a high knowledge and he'll become a great leader. No, it doesn't say it that way. It works different in different situations. Okay, so again, the evidences are not so clear, right? So sometimes, right, what is a traits, like person might have all the traits, but you put him in a context, it doesn't prove himself. Okay, so that doesn't really prove sometimes. So that becomes a limitation of the theory. And the next theory is a behavioral theories. See now, what is a behavioral theory?
which are come through the practices. So.
Meaning, even if you think you are not a born leader, you can become a leader, right? So MSSW believes in behavioral theory, meaning you're all in MSSW, therefore you all will be a leaders, great leaders, right? So leadership can be developed, it can be learned, you can develop a specific behavior that is required. Okay, so that is this theory talks about. So for example, the author is here, what is it, Watson. So he says, why do you focus on what is that, invisible things? So focus on the observable facts. So the person is talking, the way he communicates becomes more observable. Okay, we are. The person is regular to the workplace. So that's a behavior. So you can observe the behaviors, you can develop those behaviors rather than focusing on the traits which you can't really measure or see things, right? So that's a behavioral theory. It states it can be learned. Okay. So under here in behavioral theory, studies have been done, right? So Ohio State studies So they've done a study. Okay, so they found two important aspects in the leadership. Okay, so one aspect is the building structure or initiating a structure. What's the extent a leader is very clear on defining the roles and responsibilities and developing the right hierarchy or building a right structure for the organization. The other aspect is the relationship. How much a leader is able to build relationship, the mutual trust, respect for subordinates' ideas, and regard for others' feelings. Okay, so they found in leaders these two important aspects. Okay, so the person who is building the structure and giving a clear definition or a clear roles and responsibilities. Okay, so the other leader is like now through that is able to get the job done by building the right structure. The other leader, by building a relationship, is able to get the task done. These are the two aspects we can see it in the leadership, great leaders. So one is a task oriented, another one is a relationship oriented. So both have its own advantages and disadvantages. That's the Ohio study. Again, the Michigan studies, University of Michigan. So in their study, they have found these two aspects. Employee-oriented leader, okay, emphasizing on the interpersonal relations, taking personal interest in the employees, all right? So you can find like now, if you have gone to the internship organizations, or even you can hear about HRs or leaders, right? So the moment they get down, they might talk to the security and they might ask you, how are you? There might be a leader, okay, he can not even see the security guy. He'll be straight away walking in, right? So he will not acknowledge, right? Okay, are you working? Is everything in place? Okay, that's more on the structure oriented, task oriented. Another one is employee oriented. So these two aspects they found in their study. And the other one, Scandinavian studies, they say leadership not necessarily should be focused on task or relationship. There can be the other aspect also. So that's the development oriented leader, right? So leader who values the experimentation, seeking new ideas, generating and implementing change. So these are the three aspects of the leadership. They are talking about it. So finally, yes, finally you are going to see in the organization whether you are getting the task done. Okay, and how are you getting the task done? Okay, so that's going to be a huge factor. Are you going to be a task oriented? Okay, giving all the importance to the task, get it completed, or you are giving importance to the employees and then getting the task done. I think in the COVID situation, it could be clearly seen, right? So if you are saying, okay, the lockdown is relaxed, all of you come to organization. So our production is spent, right? So we need to discharge the goods. Okay, you start coming in. Okay, this month we need to achieve so much of target. So you are clearly task oriented, irrespective of what happens to the people. So there can be another leader. So who are all in the containment zones? Those people can see the possibilities of coming. If you have more challenges, take your time. Other people who are all free, do not have problems, you can come to the organization. What are you doing? You are considering your employees. Okay, so both have its own merits and demerits. So you will have to see the context and then use it. To give you an example, once we went to the, Perambur, that ICA factory. So there one person said, like now we have a good manager. He's completely task focused. He knows all the aspects of job. Therefore, we are secure. Okay. Therefore, we are secure because he has a high command on the job. Okay. He knows every aspect of it. Therefore, we are feeling very secure. Okay. It's still possible. If you're really task focused, you are building a great product, great structure, employees can be still feeling safe, right? So again, based on the context. So is that clear? Trait and behavioral theories?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay, the
So,
contingency theory, right? So this is talking about the match between leadership style and the situation. Okay, so your style and the context will have to be matching. Okay, so that's about the contingency model. So it's here, what is it? You have a questionnaire to identify whether you are a task-oriented leader or a relationship-oriented leader. Okay, so sometimes a situation, your own subordinates give you a chance, like opportunity to decide on your style of leadership. Okay, so that's about the contingency theory. Here the Fiedler model for defining the situation. The first one is a leader-member relations. What is the level of their relationship? The confidence level, trust, or respect between the leader and the employees. The task structure, how clear is the task? How well defined it is? Okay. So third one is a positional power. So how much of power you have in your position? Okay. So these three aspects define a situation or a context. Okay. So based on that, the leadership can be practiced. Okay. So take for example, you have employees who do not have a high knowledge and not so much discipline. Probably you're going to practice task-oriented leadership. And imagine you have a highly educated employees and technically very sound and like now well behaved. Probably you can go for employee relationship based, right? So that's where relationship can play well, and in other aspects, task oriented leadership can play well. Okay, so cognitive resource theory. So this theory states that stress can unfavorably affect a situation, and that intelligence and experience can lessen influence of stress on the leader, right? So it's again about your cognitive level, right? So how much of cognitive resource that you have. Take for example, in this condition, like now, in a COVID conditions, so you're working in an organization, suddenly you find like now one employee is infected. So what is going to happen? If you're going to be panicking and all that, you will not be able to use your intelligence much. Okay, so that's where your intelligence is going to play a major role. Okay, so it's again the Herzberg blend charts situational leadership theory. Okay, so it is based on the followers, right? So take for example, when your employees are unable and unwilling. Okay, so you need to give them the directions to do the task, right? So they are not willing to do and they do not have the required skills and competencies. You are going to direct them, task oriented. Okay, unable but willing. So what you are going to do? High task oriented and relationship consideration. They're willing to do, but they do not have the technical knowledge. So that's very balancing these two. And able and unwilling. They have the technical knowledge, they have the competencies and skills, but they are unwilling to perform. So that's where you can use a supportive or a participative leadership style. Able and willing. So, right, you just monitor them, right? So they're performing well. Just guide them, that is sufficient. Okay, so you decide on the leadership based on your employees' conditions, their readiness, how much they are ready. If they are more ready, willing, and able, then just supervision is enough. If they are more unable and unwilling, you require more, task-oriented leadership. All the time you need to give instructions. Okay, do this, do that, report to me in the morning, report to me in the afternoon, end of the day, update me. All that you will have to talk about it, right? It's again the same thing, right? Followers readiness, unwilling, willing, supportive model, and monitoring, all that. Okay. Okay, so LMS is, it's again, you'll be studying more in detail in the OB, right? So we are just touching upon, you can talk about the earlier three, one, situational, what is a trait, behavioral, and contingency. If you touch upon them for a HRM, that's fine. But for OB, so we need to go in detail. So that's where you'll be discussing more about LMS and all that. Okay, so in LMS, let me give you leaders create a groups, right? They have a groups, in group, out group, and all that. Those who are in group, right, they get a positive rewards and better appraisals. Those who are in out groups, they may not get a better appraisals, right? You find any leader, take for example, Modi, who is very close to him, Amit Shah, right? So take for example, what is that, our Chief Minister Edapadi, who is very close to him. Okay, so you allow Vijay Bhaskar and other members, right? Similarly, those who are in group will get a better rewards and recognition. Those who are in out groups will not be getting the better recognition and all that. Okay. So path goal theory, the leader will have to set a clear path for the employees to move on. See, take for example, at this time of COVID, employees would be so confused and they may not know in which direction they are moving in, how the organization is going to be, and all that would not be clear. A leader like now who has this particular style, right? So you'll be able to clearly give a direction to the employees. So this is where the organization is. In six months time, we'll be there. In 1 year's time, that's where we are going to be. And you all can do this one, that one. In that way, you'll be setting the path very clear and the employees can move on that path. Okay. So that's about it. So maybe this is enough for today. Okay, on motivation and leadership. So you can do the additional reading. So is that clear for everyone? You have any
Yes.
doubts?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Other
Yes, sir.
discussions? We'll take it up in the next class. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So we'll take it up
Okay,
for more
sir.
discussion in the next class.
Okay.
Okay.